We're Zach and Annie, a Scotsman and an American.
6 months ago, we made a huge decision, leaving everything behind in California in order to follow a new dream of raising our kids in Scotland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a good Christmas and are looking forward to the new year. Today, we are going shopping at Costco,
Woohoo!
both in the UK and the US. But before we get to that, we do need to give a shout out. So,
This video is sponsored by HelloFresh. We'll be showcasing one of their super quick and easy dinner recipes a little later, so stay tuned. And by using our code SSL60, you'll get 60% off your first box plus 20% off the next 2 months and free desserts. So if you don't want to miss out, please check out the link in our description box or scan the QR code here. Let's end the year on a high note with our delicious, budget-friendly meals for all occasions.
we are recovering from the Christmas madness, and a lingering Christmas gift that we got as a family was the Christmas flu.
Yes.
So Annie is sounding a little gravelly in her throat, and she's she's doing good, but it's been a rough few days for everyone apart from me and Finnegan, actually. Somehow
Yes.
we escaped it.
Zach always quarantines himself, so the moment anyone in our house gets sick, Zach's like, peace, and goes and
I
hides.
have been known to just go to the sofa, and yes, it's worked for me. So
He might have done that. He didn't this time, surprisingly. But
sometimes I feel like I've avoided it, and then I'll get it like next week. But anyway, this week we're doing another shopping comparison, and we are going to Costco.
so many of you have been asking for this since our previous grocery haul, where we got a lot of feedback again there. So we want to address some of your concerns.
Who would have known? The internet likes to give us feedback.
Before we get started, what's our first point?
So the main one was how expensive California is, and we get it. We lived it. We understand. So this time we're going all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast, more specifically Georgia.
South of Atlanta.
Yes. We're using the same store in both locations. So Costco in Georgia, Costco in Scotland, in Edinburgh more specifically. And there's only one nearby us here, so that's our option.
That's what we had to. And we do want you to weigh in. So because we got that feedback about California, we want to know if the Edinburgh area, Costco, is way more expensive than you have elsewhere in the UK. So if you have access to that information, let us know how your prices compare as well at the end of this video or in the comments.
Our general understanding is we think the Costco prices are pretty even, at least in the same country, but let us know. So having said that, what is Costco in the UK like compared to US? Like I said, we've been to a few of the locations in the US, probably some of the smaller locations that the US has, and the Edinburgh one size-wise is pretty similar to those, honestly. It's out of the town in a big sort of industrial park next to a huge IKEA, so it's just a big warehouse like all these Costco places are, and yeah, it's like stepping into a shop in the US, honestly.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's huge here, it's huge over there.
Yeah.
So not much difference as far as the size of the stores.
Yeah. As you go in, you still have to show your membership card. Everything inside looks pretty similar. There's a vast choice of things from food to toys to mechanical stuff to all sorts of stuff, tires. And so, yeah, that was the first sort of big similarity. There are a lot of products that are very different.
Yes.
I don't think in the US I saw a giant Costco-sized bag of tea, whereas here there was a huge bag of tea, which I thought was funny.
And I have to say, I was rather disappointed. I was hoping and just maybe thinking there could be eggnog at the Costco in Edinburgh. No such luck. So if you're an American over here looking for your eggnog, don't bother with Costco. They don't have it.
From our last video, apparently eggnog originated here, like in the UK, but yeah. Anyway, another thing to note, your US Costco membership works worldwide, so it works here. I still use my Costco card here.
Yep.
I've not transitioned over to a UK membership, but I understand transitioning over is fairly easy. If you're wanting to become a new Costco member here, you do have to meet a certain job criteria, like you have to be in a certain field, and we'll link the part on the Costco website that shows all those different professions that qualify.
And that is one of the differences between the US and the UK. In the US, you don't have to have one of those jobs to be able to get a Costco membership.
Yep. Lost my train of thought. But yeah.
Sorry, I know.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you still have the same like levels of membership. You can have the executive and all this, and you can link into that. But yes, if you come over on a holiday or moving over, your US Costco card will grant you access to the Holy Land. So.
To the Holy Land.
What else? Similarities, food court.
Oh yeah.
Still at the food court. Prices are still
pretty
as
much the
low.
same.
Hot dog and a drink was £1.50.
Yep. And pizza. You have pizza and hot dog and a drink in both countries, but everything else is a little bit different.
Yeah.
In the UK, you can get a jacket potato, whereas in the US, I think is it a burger or a chicken sandwich?
They've changed. They
Something
used to do
slightly
salads, like chicken bakes, all sorts of things. Again, I think it varies by location and whatever, but food court's very similar. And we still have the mighty rotisserie chicken at the back of the store, luring you through the store to that rotisserie chicken. What else?
I think that's the big things that we were going to mention about Costco, differences, similarities. And to the man who came up and so kindly said hello to us at this last shop, please know we were not contagious anymore, but we did feel awful. So we just could not converse. We were so lethargic by the end of that shopping trip. It was
We were standing like zombies at the food court, getting some food to eat in the car to feed our family, because that's all that we could muster the energy for. And this very nice man comes and is like, I recognize you guys. We're like, hello.
And normally we would have said something else, but we just sort of sat and stared off into oblivion. I'm so sorry. That's not
He was very
us.
nice. We're like, thank you, bye. So one, we're still getting used to people recognizing us, which doesn't happen that often. And two, we were just completely zoned out from Christmas and the Christmas flu. So to that man, thank you, hello, and we're sorry.
Leave your name in the comments.
Yeah.
We'll give you a shout out.
Yeah. All right.
So with food items being different between the UK and the US Costco stores, we did want to mention that we couldn't do this perfectly. We're not perfect. This is not some crazy science experiment. We do the best we have with what we have.
With the energy we have on the day.
Yeah, exactly. So come at us in the comments if you don't like what we're saying, if you don't agree with the prices, but I promise you, we're not trying to give anyone the short end of the stick. I don't care which country comes out ahead or behind. I honestly don't. I just find it interesting, and people have requested this, so we thought, let the masses have what they want.
Okay, so yes, the Kirkland brand, the Costco's own brand, is here in the UK, and there are some products that are exactly the same. So we found the few of those that there were and compared those price-wise, but just like Annie said, like the cuts of meat are different. They have different names in the two countries. There's more selection to appear in the US of items in general, and just different selections. So we've matched as close as we can. The end of the day, a chicken breast is a chicken breast. We did as best we could for quality and organic versus not, this, that, and the other. But please just take the prices we found and use them for you as you wish. And we'll see where we go, but I think it'll be very interesting, actually.
Yes, and because of the feedback we got from the last video, we kept the US prices in dollars and US measurements, and then the UK prices in pounds and the UK measurements, and then did all the conversions for you. So we'll walk you through one example so you can see that we do know what we're doing, and then you'll get the information from there, and you can work out some too. Annie
was once again doing her beautiful mind impersonation with the charts and the formula on the window and stuff, but yeah, all the conversions will be done in the background this time, so we're showing you those prices, and maybe that'll make things easier, maybe not, but let us know.
All right, so let's get into it. We're going to start with some produce. So let's do our first one together. We're going to start with apples, and as you can see here, these are the prices that we're working with. The first thing I wanted to do was to change the British denominator from 2 kilograms to pounds, and that ends up being 4.409 pounds, which I got from using an online calculator. In step 2, we're just going to do a little bit of cross multiplying and dividing, and that leads us to get 4 pounds and 7 pence for our new total. So now that we have 4 pounds 7 pence per 4 pounds, we can figure out how much that is in dollars. So once again, I'm going to use another online currency converter, and that yields $5.12. So now I'm going to take the new British number, which is $5.12, and divide it by the US's total of $5.29, and that gives us 0.97. So all you have to do now is move the decimal point over 2 spots, and you can see that the UK price is 97% of the total US price. So the UK wins in this one.
Okay, let's kick things off with bananas. In the US, it's $1.49 for 3 pounds of bananas, and in the UK, it's £1.69 for 1.36 kilograms, which means the US wins this one with a price that's 70% of the UK total. Next up are some out-of-season strawberries. So in the US, it's $8.69 for 2 pounds of strawberries, and in the UK, that's £9.99 for 907 grams, which means the US wins this one with a price that's 69% of the UK total.
Okay, let's see blueberries. So in the US, blueberries are $3.29 for 18 ounces, and in the UK, they're £4.99 for 510 grams. The US ends up winning this one here with a cheaper price, coming in at 52% the total of the UK's price.
Some green grapes now. So in the US, that's $6.89 for 3 pounds of grapes. In the UK, it's £7.49 for 1.5 kilograms. The US wins this one with a price that's 82% of the UK total.
Okay, it's time for pineapple. In the US, a pineapple is $2.89 each, and in the UK, a pineapple is £2.99 each. So here, the US has the cheaper price, and it is 77% the total of the UK's cost.
Green beans, a staple in any southern diet. So in the US, it's $5.99 for 2 pounds of green beans. In the UK, it's £7.99 for 907 grams, which means the US wins this one with a price at 60% of the UK total.
Here we have asparagus. In the US, asparagus is $8.59 for 2.25 pounds, and in the UK, asparagus is £6.99 for 750 grams. So once again, the US wins out here with the better price, and it comes in at 72% the total cost of the UK's price.
So here we have some mushrooms. In the US, it's $3.79 for 24 ounces of mushrooms. In the UK, it's £3.99 per kilogram, which means the UK wins this one with a price that's 90% of the US total.
Now it's time for romaine lettuce. In the US, you can get a 6-pack of romaine lettuce for $4.79, and in the UK, you can get a 2-pack for £2.49. So the US has a cheaper overall total, with it being 51% the total of the UK's cost.
Ah, the mighty potato. If the UK doesn't win this one, I think we better just give up now. In the UK, you're looking at 60 cents per pound. In the UK, that's £3.99 for 5 kilograms. Whew, thankfully the UK wins this one with a price that's 76% of the US total. For onions, the US is $3.99 for 5 pounds, and the UK is £4.99 for 2.5 kilograms. The US wins this one with a price that's 70% of the UK total.
Let's look at this veggie stir fry. So in the US, this stir fry comes in at $2.05 per pound, and in the UK, it comes in at £9.99 per 2.49 kilograms. So once again, the US wins this one with its cost being 89% the total cost of the UK.
Up next is ground beef, or in the UK, minced beef. So in the US, it's $4.75 per pound. In the UK, it's £8.49 per kilogram, which means the US narrowly wins this one with a price that's 98% of the UK total.
Chicken is a pretty close comparison. So here you'll see chicken breasts come in at $2.99 per pound in the US, and then in the UK, they come in at £5.69 per kilogram. So overall, the US's price is 92% that of the UK's total price. So the US is still cheaper in this.
For salmon, this salmon was farmed in the same ocean, so let's see the price. In the US, it's $9.99 per pound. In the UK, it's £19.99 per kilogram, which means the US wins this one with a total that's 88% of the UK price. Ah, the rotisserie chicken. So famously, Costco don't make money on these. They're just designed to draw you all the way to the back of their store. And it works. So in the US, it's $4.99 for a rotisserie chicken. And in the UK, it's £3.99. So not surprisingly, these prices are pretty similar, with the UK just losing out to the US with a price that's 99% of the UK total.
Let's look at some canned tuna. For $14.99 in the US, you can get 84 ounces of tuna, and then in the UK, for £1 3 pence, you can get 100 grams. So here, the US is almost half the price of the UK's total, at 48%.
Got some mozzarella here. So in the US, it's $8.49 for 36 ounces. And in the UK, that's £4.49 for 500 grams. This one, the US wins with a price at 74% of the UK total.
Okay, this was a super close one with grated cheese. In the US, grated cheese is $16.99 per 5 pounds, and in the UK, it's £8.89 per 1.5 kilograms. So the UK just nudges out here with its total being 99% the total of the US's final cost.
A staple of any US diet is butter, $13.99 for 4 pounds, and in the UK it's £3.79 for 500 grams. So the US wins this one with a price that's 81% of the UK total.
Okay, let's talk milk. And before you get started, I know that the gallons in the US and the UK are different, so I took that into account when doing these calculations. So in the US, a gallon of milk is $2.84, and in the UK, £2.49 will get you 4 liters. So in total, the US is cheaper, but just slightly, with its cost being 96% the total cost of the UK.
Some Greek yogurt next. So in the US, it's $6.79 for 48 ounces. In the UK, that's £3.99 per kilogram. So a pretty close one here, but the US just wins with a price that's 99% of the UK total.
Here we have eggs. In the US, a dozen eggs is $2.99, and in the UK, a dozen eggs is £1.90. So here, the UK wins, and its price is 84% the total cost of that of the US.
Bread next, and this was something we noticed as a huge difference. The selection in the UK was much, much smaller than the US selection. Anyway, onto the price. $5.39 for 48 ounces in the US, and £1.15 for 800 grams in the UK, which means the UK wins with a price that's 46% of the US total.
Now we have a family staple, spaghetti. In the US, you can get 1 pound of spaghetti for $1.25, and in the UK, you can get 3 kilograms of spaghetti for £4.69. So the UK comes out on top here with a price that's 71% the total of the US's cost.
Cashews next, and this is a product that looks exactly the same in both countries. Price-wise, $6 per pound in the US and £2.30 for 227 grams in the UK, which means the UK price is 77% of the US total.
So here we have those weirdly addictive flat pretzels, and in the US they're $9.64 for 28 ounces, and in the UK they're £6.79 for 737 grams. So the US is cheaper here, with its price being 77% the total of the UK's cost.
Another Kirkland branded product, which is exactly the same in the US. Price-wise, it's $7.83 for 40 ounces. And the UK, that's £5.99 for 1.13 kilograms, which means the UK wins this one with a price that's 96% of the US total.
These Kirkland granola bars are the exact same in both countries, so this is a fun comparison. In the US, a box of these granola bars is $12.59, and in the UK, the same box is £14.38. So the US wins out here with a price that's cheaper, and it's 70% the total of the UK. Okay, full transparency here. This is going to be the one that's the least reliable out of all of our findings. So, looking at brownie mix, we had Ghirardelli, which is a premium brand, and that was what was offered in the UK, whereas in the US, it was the Kirkland brand own brownie mix. So that one was much cheaper, but we decided to compare anyways because we like brownies. So, in the US, that brand was $10.99 per 120 ounces, and then in the UK, the Ghirardelli brownie mix was £10.49 per 2.26 kilograms, and that made the US total about 50% the cost of the UK's, but take this with a grain of salt.
For flour, in the US, it's $8.99 for 25 pounds, and in the UK, it's £5.99 for 7.5 kilograms, which means the US wins this one with a price that's 80% of the UK total.
Granulated sugar was a surprising one to me. In the US, it's $7.99 for 10 pounds, and then in the UK, it's £16.49 for 25 kilograms. That means that the UK came out on top here, with its total price being 47% the total of the US's price.
Okay, chocolate chips, great for baking and also just eating by the handful. In the US, it's $13.99 for 72 ounces, and in the UK, it's £19.99 for 2.04 kilograms, which means the US wins this one with a price that's 56% of the UK total.
All right, as promised, we're going to be following HelloFresh's short and sweet recipe for super quick chicken tikka masala. Now, with a name like that, how could we pass this up? With 3 hungry children, we have to admit that making dinner can feel a bit overwhelming after a long day of work and back-to-back children's activities. That's a huge reason why we love having these pre-planned meals with all the ingredients already at your fingertips. Not only does it take out the stress of having to decide what to make in the moment, but it also reduces the prep time by having fresh, high-quality ingredients pre-measured and portioned out for our family's needs. I can't tell you how much this has cut down on excessive food waste, and rather than getting caught out and having to place an expensive last-minute dinner delivery, we can now relax a bit knowing that we have fresh meals waiting and that they've all been budgeted in ahead of time. You should also know that you'll be able to choose from a weekly menu of 35 recipes with options to add other sides, snacks, and desserts. So visit that link in our description box or use the QR code to get 60% off your first box plus 20% off the next 2 months and free desserts. Don't forget to use our code SSL60.
Okay, Nutella, however you want to say it, it's delicious. Price-wise, it's $13.89 for 67 ounces in the US and £5.99 per kilogram in the UK, which means the US narrowly wins with a price that's 97% of the UK total.
Here's another item that's the same in both stores. So in the US, this raspberry preserves, raspberry jams, whatever you call it, is $9.99 per 36 ounces. And in the UK, it's £4.69 per 750 grams. So the UK comes out on top here with its price being 80% the total cost of the US. Here's another close comparison. It's Kirkland brand-owned coffee in both the UK and the US. One was a Colombian blend and the other wasn't the exact same, but I thought it was close enough. So here we have in the US for $13.99 you can get 2.5 pounds, and in the UK for £12.49 you can get 1.36 kilograms. So the UK has the cheaper overall price and its cost is 94% the total of the US price.
And to the food court we go, and first up is the all beef hot dog. Again, Costco don't make money on these. It's just another reason to keep you in the store. And here they've just changed the $sign for the pound sign, which means that the US wins this one with a price that's 79% of the UK total.
For a piece of pizza in the US, it's $1.99, and in the UK, they just switched out that symbol and it's £1.99. So the US wins this round with its price coming in at 80% the total of the UK's cost.
Okay, so what's the final verdict? Well, it looks like it's best to fly all the way to the US if you want to shop at Costco.
That's right. And if you're interested in finding out more about our other grocery hauls, please check out the video linked here or in the description box because it yielded quite different results.
And as always, if you learned something, hit that like button, subscribe, and we look forward to your comments.
Thanks so much for watching. Bye!